I'm Alicia Young, and this is the case study of the missing Booster Club funds. So this particular case shares that despite the processes and procedures that are in place to prevent theft and mishandling of funds, the administration has become suspicious that there have been funds missing from the basketball game admissions gate collection. So the first step is to identify the problem and analyze it. So the problem in this case is that a $50 bill has gone missing from the gate admissions cash bag. And we also, seem to be 10 tickets that are unaccounted for, and those 10 tickets equal $50. So the problem, when we think about it, we want to look at what do we know about the problem. First of all, one of the volunteers is Mrs. Bowman. And Mrs. Bowman earlier in the week was denied a request for use of PTA funds for a quite extensive amount of money, over $700, to pay for travel for her daughter's involvement in recognition for making it to All-State cheerleading and traveling for the event. Mrs. Bowman also is the volunteer at the gate admissions, and she gave the proceeds from the cash bag to the administrator and claimed that 10 of the tickets had been discarded due to being torn. A parent also shared with the administrator that he had paid the admission gate with a $50 bill, and that $50 bill is not in the cash bag of proceeds that was presented to him by Mrs. Bowman. And fourth, the cost of the missing tickets is equivalent to the $50. So what do we need to know about this particular problem? What happened to those 10 tickets that are not accounted for? So if they were torn, are they in the trash? Did we collect those? And can we recover those? If there are two people taking money at the admissions gate, as the administrator expected, who was that second person? Can that second person confirm that those 10 tickets were discarded due to being torn? And then what about Mrs. Bowman? Does either Mrs. Bowman or the second ticket taker recall that particular parent paying for his admission with a $50 bill? And did both of the parent volunteers verify the cash bag? So, proposing a plan of action with the appropriate strategies for implementation starts with the plan. The first thing would be to contact the superintendent or the district accounting department because I have become suspicious of mishandling of funds. Second, it's going to be important to be sure that the processes and procedures have been implemented correctly, requiring documentation to ensure the proceeds are not mishandled inappropriately and to protect all of those folks who are handling money. And then we also want to make a plan to be sure that our volunteers have been trained on the processes and procedures. So when solving this problem, the first step would be to meet with Mrs. Bowman and the second volunteer and review and train on these particular following procedures and maybe clear up some of the issues that are in question. It's important that we require 2 volunteers and to document that those 2 volunteers are working the admission gates and concessions. We require that any unused tickets be turned into the administrator with that cash bag at the end of the event. And if possible, this is where I would visit with them and collect those discarded tickets if they were able to produce those. And let them know that it is important that we require a signature from both volunteers to confirm the cash amounts, as well as requiring documentation of the ticket numbers sold with signatures from both of those volunteers. So I would have those conversations at this time to see if they did remember that there was ever a $50 bill presented and as part of the proceeds that evening. So when thinking about resolving the issues and basing it on promoting success for all students. This resolution would look like that the administrator would implement processes and procedures with clear defined expectations of staff, students, and volunteers. Secondly, it would be important that the administrator supports students regardless of limitations to ensure that they are given the same opportunities of students in more affluent communities, and that the administrator supports the community partnerships. So these are what's best for students, and in this case study we have examples of this by Mr. Stevens following procedures for activity funds and the use of PTA funds. There's also strong evidence that there's parent and community support for the PTA. They also participate both in during the day reading buddy programs with the middle school students, as well as after school activities. With this particular school, there's a strong support for athletics from parents, community members, and Booster Club. The basketball game itself was strongly attended, and there are lots of strong relationships and support from the community for the school. School events are well attended, as I mentioned, and Mr. Stevens works well with those parent leadership in both the PTA and the Booster Club. And he really relies on the parent volunteers as he's doing supervisory duties. They're able to help out with some of the other responsibilities because he does not have an assistant principal. And Mr. Stevens is also very well liked. He's been at the building now for 4 years and is liked by students, parents, and teachers. So, in thinking about the problem and reflecting, one of the things that I was wondering about is if it is appropriate to try to recover the missing money. So at first I was thinking, do I try to find the money, or if it's more appropriate to analyze these issues and focus on the gaps in the procedures. Because ultimately it's the principal's responsibility if there's loss in funds for any reason. I was also considering the request for the financial support from the PTA for the cheerleading event, and I was curious as to why maybe the administrator didn't suggest going to the Booster Club instead, since it seemed to be an athletic event, or maybe suggesting that the PTA or another community partner perhaps implement a fundraiser for this particular cheerleading expense. When I was reading the case study, some things I was really feeling accusatory of Mrs. Bowman. It really felt like the case study implied that Mrs. Bowman took the money, despite knowing that she was a regular volunteer, that he trusted her, and she had strong ties to the school. All of her students had gone there. So knowing that she had requested a large amount of money for her daughter's activities and travel kind of put her in a position to be someone who might be desperate for funds. And also this was presented that this is a low-income neighborhood with parents who perhaps couldn't afford travel expenses like this. I was also feeling like the administrator didn't value the cheerleading event since it only affected the one student, and it was presented as an athletic activity in the case study. So it didn't feel like he was really valuing that athletic activity since it was only pertaining to one student, and didn't want to help this particular parent volunteer find a way for her daughter to attend. As I reflect, I also am really valuing the processes and procedures that support well-documented, explicit directions on following procedures. So the requirement of at least 2 people collecting money builds in that accountability, checks and balances, and these procedures create opportunities to minimize errors, mishandling of funds, and opportunities for theft. So it seems like it might be excessive to have more than one volunteer at a gate or in the concession stands, or to go to all the trouble to have pre-numbered tickets and all of those things. But this case study really showed me the value of all of those important procedures. So some unresolved issues that I might want to continue to explore. I was thinking about the opportunities available to Mrs. Bowman when she was looking for those funds for the cheerleading event. And I was wondering, how might the Booster Club support the students' travel expenses? Perhaps that's an opportunity to explore in order to support that particular student and recognize her for what she's accomplished. And then considering that the basketball game was very well attended, how might a community partner be willing to coordinate a fundraiser for the cheerleading expenses? So these are some issues that I think that maybe have been left unresolved and could be explored. Also, considering the missing $50 bill, I'm wondering if there's another explanation for where the bill ended up. And so after visiting with Mrs. Bowman and the other volunteers, it might come to light, or there might be other questions to ask. Did the administrator have the processes and procedures in place, but the volunteers didn't follow them? And so that seems to me a little bit unresolved. Mr. Stevens seemed to have lots of procedures in place, so he was so strong in some, yet there seemed to be a breakdown here. So I'm wondering if the breakdown was with the procedures or with the volunteers. And then how might other staff members or volunteers support other duties, allowing the administrator to check in with the gate admission volunteers? So it was clear that Mr. Stevens was doing supervisory duties, so knowing that he has lots of folks that are willing to help out, maybe he could reorganize a little bit of the support that he's given so that he can at least check in that his procedures are in fact being followed. So Category 5 really deals with leadership and thinking about, as a school leader, promoting effective management of the school district. And it shows that there's evidence that Mr. Stevens advocates for appropriate uses of PTA funds, also use of pre-numbered tickets, inventory being taken at concession stands. Those are common practice for Mr. Stevens. He implements strong security procedures after the basketball game. He reviews the ticket accounting sheets from the admission game and counts the cash in front of the security guard and has the security guard help him secure the money all the way to his car after the event. So those are effective management strategies. How do you as a school leader promote the social learning of every student? Well, Mr. Stevens has a strong relationship with the students, parents, and the community. He builds relationships. He celebrates students' achievements by getting on the intercom and recognizing the particular cheerleader for her achievement. And the school also, despite it not being a very large school, participates in many sporting events district-wide. And this really supports the social learning of every student. Lastly, component 3, as a school leader, how do you promote student academic learning? In this particular case study, there was a reading buddy program that is in place for middle school students. And then it talked about, despite the changes in the neighborhood and the support for the students both academically remains strong. And then opportunities for parents to support learning exist in both in and outside of the school day. And that is the case study of the missing funds. Thank you.